Broadcast is live. There you go. We're sitting on each other's laps.
You wanna
I'm
move
thinking,
forward,
that's
move this
right.
far?
Yeah.
You always have one puppy.
Always have one on? I missed it.
He said that there's a party, but he didn't invite me.
No.
But I told him he always has.
We'll cut the folder up.
They recently went to a thing for my work and they called it a Sherpa.
Sorry, I'll
Really?
take this or not.
Okay. Need a little flat, label or something.
With that group, that's
Oh,
what we're gonna do.
Oh,
Yeah.
pretty good, you.
For him to be a Sherpa.
Yes.
Sorry, my dad doesn't know what you're.
I just
So
nodded,
he just,
yeah.
we just jacket.
Oh,
Turn the
okay.
local guides and they get you where you
Oh,
need to go.
they help you get there, okay.
Alright.
I go over here, does that mean I'm one of those guys?
Absolutely.
Big, huge metal tray. Doesn't work.
It's a good thing.
We just walked past your house, Bobby.
What?
We just walked past your house.
The first one's tomorrow, so I'll cover it.
Hopefully you didn't bake it.
That's in a couple of weeks.
Harley, every time I walk, I wanna take a picture of ourselves. Put it on Facebook and go, hey Harley.
We're really doing it, we're really doing it.
Where are you?
Dude, really? I was coming, waiting on you.
Okay, can we start a new hashtag, hey Harley?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny?
That's fine as fuck to me. Let's do
Every
it then.
time we walk, I'm like, we're gonna see Harley now. And I put on Facebook, hey Harley.
I'll do it. I will do an active location. I can take that with an active location. Yes, we can.
We're taking a different route every time, but.
Yeah, I have it. I'm doing that side now.
We're doing all the alleyways.
I did that. And then I did
Step one.
that
That's
weird
step
corner
one,
over
right?
there. Oh, I did an industrial. Oh, cut away.
Okay,
That's right.
but I always feel like I want to take a picture.
I don't know if it's easier for you to sit there.
November
21st.
I just want to mix the.
We can start a walking campaign with that.
Yeah,
Right.
me too.
You wanna come back here? That'd be fun. There's a wall.
Now, so you can get the link from Facebook.
No.
There's markers up there.
It's my, it's get replaced in November.
Never know what's going on. Well, it's really only fair to get them.
I'm sorry.
It's an extreme, how we answer.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. You're welcome.
He's here. I'm sorry. We're seeing the house. Thank you.
Remember when the police report was a one-sided, one-page report, and that was all of them?
I will say that was just me though.
It was really neat. Looking through all
I
of
can't
it.
figure out how to get the names off of it now.
Well,
I kinda don't like it, but
kind of used to be that way. didn't it?
yes.
Wasn't it? It used to
Something
be
changed.
paper or something like that.
Well, I typed that
Like
up.
the roll call thing. It's interesting.
Time, sir.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. Let's call this village council meeting to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Certainly. Wales?
Here.
Bishop?
Here.
Dunham? Here. Larson?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Needham?
Here,
White?
Here.
Let's stand for the pledge. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks everybody for joining tonight. Seeking the approval of the regular agenda with letter C, the hard cop, changed to hard cap. Right?
I'll make the motion.
support,
Motion and support. All those in favor say yes.
yes,
Anyone opposed? Seeking the consent agenda. Anyone make a motion adopting the consent agenda?
Support it.
Motion and support. All those in favor say yes.
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 Anybody opposed? Carries. At this time, we have room for brief public comment. Does anybody wish for public comment this evening? Yes, go ahead, Mayor. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Stephanie Wiley, I live in Kalkaska, I have nothing to disclose with the board. But I would like to say, I love having everybody here, I think it's really great that people are paying attention and want to be involved. Is there any way we could have this meeting maybe over at the COA, because it's too cold over, now, to warm that whole place up? But I would like to suggest that we find a bigger place for meetings, so we're not all doing this.
It's already in the works.
What is, sir?
It is?
Done.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow, okay, while we're on, no, I'm kidding.
What else can you imagine?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so there is something.
Furnace is going in Railroad Square the week after next.
But do we want to heat it all winter?
We can turn it on and off as we need it.
Oh, cool, so we can use that rather than COA?
Yeah, because I don't think, even if we use,
COA is small too.
it's still small, yeah.
Once we have the table set up, it's just kind of very similar to the video. There's no
Right,
one on the outside anyway.
Okay.
I have,
Square, so then much
Yeah.
bigger.
I'm here, for a special hearing. And 80% of the people here are for this, my behalf, or if they have a complaint, they might help my neighbors. And I am due for a hip replacement. I'm in a lot of pain. I don't know if we could
Do something.
put that to the front of the.
That's actually next.
That's
Yeah.
Is it next?
Yeah, it's the
Okay,
first
okay, I didn't know if I was gonna have to stand here.
Right after public comment.
Would you like my
I
chair?
got it.
No, it's,
No, that doesn't help.
If
No,
he's like,
it's
yes,
we're
better
just
stand.
He needs one of those like bar size ones that you can just put one hip up on.
yeah, that's
Okay.
that's what I do.
I know exactly what you
I have a bar stool in my garage.
I would say for that.
Yeah, no, it's in the 90-degree position, it puts more pressure.
I remember that.
Do we have any more public comment? No, no presentations. I would take a motion to open the public hearing on a special use permit application submitted by Brian Berger.
moved. Supported.
Motion and support, roll call.
Certainly. Bishop?
Yes.
Dunham? Yes. Larson?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Needham?
Yes,
White?
Yes.
Wales?
Yes.
Motion carries. Public hearing begins at 6:04 p.m.
Application was received. Do you want to leave the application? Or would you like to leave your application?
No, it's what is evolved around, my previous neighbor was selling her house, and I have 2 employees come to the house. My son lives with me. We get into 2 company trucks and we leave and go off site. We don't manufacture anything at the house. It's just a matter of, it'd be like one of the oil field guys having one of their teammates pull up, get in the company truck, which I see oil field trucks parked all around town, and leave. My accountant does all my billing, all my invoicing. It's basically, I don't store equipment at my house per se. I have 2 storage units in town where, I mean, it's dirty, I do construction, masonry, it's dusty, I don't even want it in my garage. As a current, I have 1 employee now, my summer help's gone. 1 gentleman pulls up in the morning, we get into 2 company trucks and leave for the day.
But the company trucks are not labeled as company trucks.
Yeah, it's not like
One's
there's
his daily
billboards.
driver, the other's a plow truck. So, when she complained about this, it was kind of upsetting because, I mean, what's the difference if I work for Roto-Rooter and I leave my personal vehicle at home and drive my company work truck home every night? I don't know what the difference is with him having a plow truck and a daily driver, and he calls them his company trucks, but they're registered in his name, not to the business. And now we're down to 1 person pulling in and getting in that truck and leaving for the day.
And I don't know if anybody's went by the site, there's a lot of vehicles there right now. I own 4 vehicles personally.
I am too.
Our in-laws, her parents are there, so there's 2 extra, but they're all parked in a vacant lot across the road.
My parents have been there for 6 weeks. The day that Aaron came by the house, my daughter pulled in for the day. The neighbor next to us had a garage sale, so she was pulled into our spot, because we have room. So it looked like a used car lot, but it's not always like that. But we have a personal truck, a plow truck, a truck to haul our
5th wheel,
5th wheel,
her food trailer.
a truck to haul the food trailer, and then our Suburban. And a Jeep. That's what we have. So it's a lot of vehicles, but I think we have the right to own vehicles.
They're
so
not on blocks, the house isn't in
They're all
disarray.
registered.
What is your name, please?
Lisa Dallas. Thank you. But I didn't understand what this was about or why it cost us $400 to do this when it's not, we're not running a business out of our house. So that was my concern.
So what did lead up to this?
We had the complaint that they were running 2 businesses out of their residence.
And what does that entail according to our
The
ordinances?
food truck and the,
According to the ordinances, what does it mean that
well,
you run a business out of your home?
in their residential district, it is not permitted without a special use permit.
But what is the definition of running a business out of your home?
According to the attorney,
No, according to our ordinance.
I don't know that it's defined by ordinance, I went right to the attorney.
That's where the confusion is, because we're not running a business out of our house.
The definition of a home business is even, what they're doing isn't even a home business, it's a separate thing. A home business is you're using a room in your house to do your moves. That's a home business. What they're doing is actually a business,
But we're
by
not.
definition, according to the attorneys. They actually have 2, and I'm just asking for 1 permit, not 1 for each,
But we're not running either business as a business out of our house.
I relayed the exact situation that he just explained to the attorney, and he said that requires a special use permit.
But none of us heard that conversation, so how is that any value at all?
Why would
I
you
don't
hear the
understand.
conversation? You're not the
Well,
manager.
because I don't know what the interpretation is of the ordinance.
I'm telling you what the
I
attorney says.
don't know what the attorney heard. I don't know what the conversation was. I don't see that.
Well, we never hear your conversations with the attorney. We have to rely on you bringing them back to us.
Correct.
I haven't been on the zoning board for a few years, but when I sat on the zoning board, it was a business as long as they had an office there and did books and stuff there, even on the county zone.
That is a business.
But in the $400 is just what the village
That's
charges.
a village fee
Right.
unrelated, correct.
And so I can understand where that's coming from, but we aren't looking for anything more with a special use, no more than the permit fee and stuff as it is right now, right?
Is there a fear that there's gonna be a whole lot of them coming after that? Is that what the special use, I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's
If
just,
we grant the special use, what would be the circumstances?
I think that's the logical answer. I mean, I
Because I don't see that if you're having an accountant do it off-site and you
Both of
own
us do.
everything, and it's in whose name?
The property
No, all the vehicles are in either
Oh,
your
yeah,
business.
I have all the
And you
registrations.
have
proof
business
of insurance.
vehicles that you take off the property then?
There's two
And those are registered
vehicles.
in the business's name?
No, they're insured corporate, but
So they would
they're
be
insured
business
commercial, but
vehicles.
they're in my
So-
name.
And there's an office in there, it's still business.
But we don't,
I understand that, I really do, I've heard the same complaint when we were on the county board, but
Right,
unfortunately, that's the way they run it. It's
Well-
both places, county and village.
Well, it's not how we run it, it's how the state law is,
Right.
that it's,
State
both comes to
statute, yeah.
business.
So we can, I mean, I pay the fee, I guess, do you guys vote on it or, okay?
And my recommendation would be to approve it. I mean, there's no issue there.
I don't think so.
I just wanna make sure that, because there was a complaint, that everything's in order, so they can't come and say, well, you didn't do your job.
I know, and she was worried about selling her house, it was gonna
So
affect her
according to the
value.
attorney, what they are doing with the vehicles parked there is defined as a business. So
But
they
this
have
would
to come to us, even though it's been ongoing for quite a
Since I lived
while.
there, 7 years, or, I mean,
So now that it's come to the attention and the complaint was there, now they have to come forward.
they don't even park in, I mean, I own the property, but there's not a house on it. It's a vacant lot, I let the neighbors use it if they need to, whatever.
They had been brought up before and it was ignored.
The complainant has sold her house and moved because we bought the house. So they're not even here to follow through with their complaint. And the way I understood, the way I'm hearing this is they don't have a home office. That everything is done.
Right, but the lawyer,
The home office is actually a lower standard than what is actually occurring. That's what I was getting at. If you just have a business, and I will say, under the old zoning ordinance, this wasn't even permitted. This wouldn't even be allowed, they would have to stop. The new zoning ordinance at least allows it, so that's actually part of why there was a little bit delay, because I knew there was a change coming. And rather than shut something down and then open it back up, we bought time.
so what was the old
The
ordinance?
old ordinance was it was residential only. Like
There was,
the
you
parking,
couldn't
the
have come
office, none
with
of
this
that.
special application.
Okay, so anybody that's, I don't know, maybe buying stuff online, turn around, selling it online, are they considered the same thing as what we are?
I don't know that answer.
I
That's a
mean,
good question.
I think
It's a valid question.
there's probably three people for each block that have a home business that, I mean, this is how it is here. I
This
mean,
is not just here. This isn't a Kalkaska thing. This is an ordinance. I mean, it's very common.
And we don't know about all of them unless somebody does bring a complaint to us. I have a question, Harlan. Brian, is there any possibility of this growing any bigger way that you're gonna wanna come back later and do something different, or is it gonna just stay like it is?
no, I used to have 10, 12 employees, and I am much happier with just a couple.
Yeah, I can
My
understand that too.
son lives with me, and he drives one of the trucks, I drive the other truck. It's a form, the most it is 4 men.
I don't see any issue either.
The size would not, unless the neighbors had an issue, the size would
When
not
I
change.
ask size, I wondered if he's gonna be starting doing business there.
But I'm saying
No,
that
no,
under this, it's kind of the size isn't reflected.
No, I understand that.
Um,
you think it had 10 employees, but it's just
Yeah.
cars.
So you said that the old zoning ordinance didn't allow for any variance and the new zoning
This isn't a
does.
variance,
The
just
special use
special,
permit.
sorry, just want to make sure we're,
So which ordinance allows that now?
the new zoning ordinance.
Right, but like, can we reference that?
Like
Here,
what
as
section
we're-
It
number
would be
you
on the chart,
Yeah.
wouldn't it, of what residentials allow, and then this one says, the permit, that might be on, it's right in the front.
While Aaron's looking that up, I'm also a neighbor of Mr. Berger here, and I just would like to enter my comments.
Please do.
I've lived in my location, which is one house parcel from his for 30 some odd years. And I was there when he moved in, and I've not noticed anything out of the ordinary. His property is very well taken care of. They actually, they moved into that residence, did quite an extensive amount of work to make it look nice. Shrubbery, flowers, making sure that everything is in very good repair. My recommendation, or my personal opinion, along with my wife Sylvia, who is also here, would be that you would approve that non-conforming use and not make any other restrictions to that.
Appreciate your comment, thank you.
Section 3.2. And I would agree exactly with what I heard Mark just say, is I would think that would be the board's best course of action.
Can I just ask a follow-up question of you two? You were describing the vehicles that you had on your property. Do they all fit into the two driveways on the two parcels?
Well, I own
Three
Two.
parcels.
Yeah, I own 3 vacant, yeah, no, we could fit 3 vehicles in our back garage. So,
You own across the street, correct?
yes,
That's-
next to Wilson
It's a vacant lot across the street from his house.
is where he parks.
I'll give my own personal information. I have been by their house. It looks really nice. Their yard looks really nice. It's not like it's trash or anything.
Yeah, and all the vehicles are
So,
registered.
yes.
Street.
Not sitting there with broken windows and flat
No,
tires.
no.
We did do a lot of work.
Cinder blocks.
Yeah, it looks really nice. Your yard deck.
Is there any more public comment for our public?
Yes, I think that without having the ordinance in front of me to reference, to understand the situation better, I have some concerns that we're charging $400 for a special use fee for other activities that probably other people are doing. And at the same time, I don't know if we have any restrictions or looking to have restrictions in the future on like residentially zoned places and parking on vacant lots. So I don't know if there's any of that to take into consideration here. I think that if the vehicles are being maintained and not causing a nuisance, it's probably okay, but seems like a lot of monitoring on our part to go down this direction.
Wouldn't that be zoning?
That's why we have the zoning ordinance.
Is this a yearly fee or is it a one-time special?
No, one
It's a
time.
one-time.
One time.
Good question.
Yeah, what are you signing up for?
It's weekly. And it multiplies everything.
Yeah.
Yes,
My biggest problem is that the person that filed this complaint had already sold their house and were moving out. So what did they care if he was running a business? They were on their way out. And nobody else in the 3 or 4 blocks around there has a problem. And the complainant had already sold the house and was leaving. So I guess, I don't see the problem with her.
Yeah, you think that complaint would be dissolved?
That's what I thought.
That's what kind of where I'm going with it, because we're also, we're direct neighbors of Brian and Lisa. They've lived next to them for 4 years. They opened us in to their home in their backyard the day we moved in. I mean, I can guarantee you, all they do is carpool in the morning. There is zero business run out of that house. Like, that's why I'm like, why is this even an issue? Like she said, they already sold the house. So.
What is your name, please?
Nicole Stevenson.
Thank you.
Did all you folks sign in outside? If you didn't, be sure you do when you leave, please. Thank you.
I just think that it could open a can of worms for a lot of people in this town I mean, what happens if someone, like I said, drives a company truck home? How's that any different when they have a personal vehicle
What I would
at
imagine is if
home?
the council does approve it, then there will probably be maybe a couple other people that would probably make a complaint, and then we would probably be back in this situation with those people. And if the decision that we made today was the right decision, then for the next people, it probably would be the right decision as well. I don't know what that
Right.
would be, but each
Right.
one would come back. So we still have those ordinances in place after this moment, and any other things would still have to come back to the same situation. So I know that sometimes precedent makes a difference in things, but I don't know that it does in site planning, because this is a special use.
Okay.
Yes,
Their empty lot, they park their employee cars, is right across the street from our lot. Well, you only know the cars are there if you drive by them, in this vacant lot, there's 4 or 5 cars lined up. And I walk my dog in the morning when his workers are arriving. The only thing I have ever heard when his employees arrive is a car door shut. So it's not like, they're disrupting the whole neighborhood because they're showing up to go to work. Like I said, I'm outside walking my dog in the morning, and like I said, the only thing I've ever heard when his employees show up is when they shut their car door.
thank you for that as well. Is there any more public comment?
Throw her to a vote.
I'd move to go back into open session.
Support. Motion
You're
and
out of public
support.
hearing now.
And roll call when you're ready, yeah?
Yes. Dunham,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Wales.
Yes.
Okay, carries, public hearing closed at 6:21 PM.
Thank you. Moving on to bills and finance.
Since he's not feeling
Yeah.
very good, is
Can we
there any reason we
just-
can't jump to
Other new
this?
business
Are we
that are
dismissed?
allowed in.
Yes.
We're gonna go to new business and then we'll come back to these. I think we might have something from finance we have to handle anyway. New business. So we'll just hold on that, and then we'll move on to the new business that we just talked about. A, consider action on the special use permit application submitted by Brian Berger.
I'll make that motion.
Motion to approve
To
or
approve.
disapprove? To
Second.
approve. Motion and support to approve. Is there any discussion?
No, I was reading the ordinance.
Can we have a vote?
Could I say something quick? I just want you to, this is absolutely nothing personal, but once something comes to me, I have to.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
I
Yeah,
got nothing against you personally, I just wanna make sure that's
I
good.
understand.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Sorry. Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Wales.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Super. Appreciate it. Thank you all very much.
All right, you are all set in your exclusive. Appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Sorry for taking up all your chairs.
That's all right.
No problem.
No problem.
Sorry.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Enjoy your new neighbors.
Sure about that?
Pretty sure.
All right, let's roll back to finance here.
Wake up today at 5 o'clock. For the payroll, monthly payroll, journal entries, bank reconciliations, and current invoices. We make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $112,277.05.
$112,000 what, I'm sorry.
$112,277.05.
Support by Mr. Bishop. Mhm. Roll call whenever.
I have a
Any
question.
discussion?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Do the bills, are those based off of the invoices here or are those separate?
Invoices.
Because the one that we received just dated for September 13th through October 10th. So I don't know if that was the same one that.
That's always the one.
Right, everything else was August, so I thought we'd be voting on.
No, we're voting on our monthly bills that we just literally signed. They're all dated different. It's whenever they get the invoices in. So,
If I may, I believe what Ms. Dunham is referring to the August reports of the cash balance, the revenue expenditure reports from the bank, the cash on hand reports that are August, is that correct, Elizabeth?
Yes, I guess I must not have noticed that the invoices are up until,
The invoices will be from since the last meeting to.
I see.
to our
Okay.
meeting, okay, or the, always the invoice, date range.
Okay.
That's a perfect answer.
Roll call when ready.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Wales.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We also discussed reviewing the health insurance plans and defining contribution worksheet for employee benefits. We make a motion to approve the village funding for the insurance for single, with spouse, with children, and family.
Motion, support,
The motion.
Support.
motion and support. Do we have discussion? Do we get discussion? Do we share anything?
Was there a lot of difference in the price from last year?
No, we've got somebody here right now that can.
Dolly, they're asking what the difference was in price from last year.
Did it go up again?
No,
I didn't think so. I couldn't remember what it was last year, but it didn't look like it did, so.
Yeah, no, I'm pleased to report that our analysis resulted in the medical plan for the actives, a 2.5% decrease. And in the dental, that was a decrease also by 2%. And in the long-term disability, 9%, your retirees are in really good shape with a decrease of 5.6%. Dental, almost 1%, not quite a huge decrease, and the vision is staying good. So we don't often see that. It's very, very rare to see that.
It's in the finance part.
It's underneath this sheet, right, underneath this one. It is good news.
So this is the same provider
Yes.
as last year.
And I didn't hear any complaints from employees this year.
I asked the during finance.
On the insurance, really.
Any more discussion?
I was wanting some clarification on the motion as far as the funding amount, or how it's going to be funded.
We just put motion to approve the village to fund their funding the same as, I guess, last year.
To the cap.
To the
Yeah, to the cap.
To the cap.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
I knew it should.
This is a motion that way. Because that's the important part, isn't it?
She wrote it that way. That's what she
She did?
clarified
Okay.
for
Yes,
that.
that's what I was, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
You're welcome.
The same outfit as last year? Yes.
Oh, there's lots of deals.
Did you make a motion, Ricky?
Yeah, motion made and
Give a
second.
second.
We're just waiting for the discussion to end and clarification has been made. Whenever you're ready for a roll call, please.
Certainly. Needham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham, yes. Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Wales.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
There's no reason for the insurance lady to stay in there.
Dolly, you can go. Have a great night, thanks.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Dolly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also discussed the village attorney of record. And we are making a recommendation, making a motion that we just have Brian Graham, one attorney on record.
As used.
Is he got a law firm
Yeah.
name?
Yeah, Graham
That's what we probably should prove, isn't it?
Wendling and,
Strand one,
Anyway,
Okay.
that one.
Yeah.
he's not heard of it anywhere, but his name's
That
on
one.
Young, is it Young Graham?
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
yes.
yep,
Yes,
yep,
there you
young
go.
Graham.
They have been our attorney of record before.
Yes,
For
they
those
have.
of you who don't remember.
I'll support the motion.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
And, housing, we discussed
Can we
naming.
take the roll call vote on the attorney?
Are you
I'm
still talking about?
Oh, I'm
okay,
sorry.
this is-
I
I think this
That's
is
okay.
discussion.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Typical over here.
Moving right along, no.
We discussed naming someone that Brian Graham works with specifically for a specialization that they have. But I don't remember. Did we want to do that tonight? I think it was for personnel or for staff, labor.
As part of them, we get Steve Schwartz, who also does labor. That's part
But
of,
if we name the law firm, then
then
we
it's
don't
covered.
have to
Correct.
name that
He's
person.
included in that firm.
Okay.
And that's why I think Angie clarified that we should go by the name of the firm instead of the person.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No.
Then the personnel committee also, which Elizabeth's part of, Bobby, is we would love to see this change done. We have got some things we want to talk about that you'll see in my report where nothing was done because we haven't got a report from an attorney that's been working on it for 4 months that we know of. And we know Graham's office responds much quicker, and not like that, he's much cheaper.
If I don't have an answer same day, he's out of the office. Even if it's not the
Just a
full answer, he'll
temporary
give me
answer,
at least an initial.
Yeah, we've got a issue we want to deal with, and we can't because you can't get an attorney to respond. The attorney to respond, so.
And now that we're not having any tips with the township, I don't see a problem
That
having the
was
same
the only
attorney.
issue because he represents so
I
many.
know, isn't that just funny? Okay. Roll call?
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes,
Needham,
Yes.
Wales.
Yes.
Motion carries.
that is all we did.
You did quite a bit, thank you. Other committees, housing, development, and Boyd.
Yeah, we met on the 6th at 4:30, all the usual suspects in attendance. Gaynell was here in place of Cash. Had many discussions about whether or not we should partake in the state land bank and ARPA request from the county, because there's county money supposedly possibly available. We do not have answers to all those completely at the moment, though. There are a couple of grant opportunities that are available that we are researching, and the committee will be meeting again on next Monday at 4:30 to hopefully solidify these answers to be able to report at the next meeting. And other than that, we have nothing to report.
Others, just, okay. Personnel committee.
You're up, Diana.
I'm looking at it.
No, I think we have a couple of
Oh, this is from before.
Yeah,
My
this
brain
is
was on the last meeting we just
September,
had.
October, we got.
Scared me. Okay, I'll go to the last meeting first. We also had a meeting October 7th. Like I said, we were going to talk about some issues on the contract and stuff that we've been going back and forth on forever. And we're waiting for response from attorney. And the other complaint was removed from the agenda till a later date. So that was done with that one. And then September 23rd, and I think the board all got a copy of the personnel committee with the corrections in it. Review the proposed amendments to the village personnel manual. And the ones that we reviewed were proposed amendment reviewed section 4.6, and if I read all this isn't gonna make a difference to anybody but you guys. Remove the work policy in employee organizations and minor amendment to section 9.3 on first paid personal leave of absence. So any questions on those? You can go to, I'll give you page numbers if you need that, 4.6. If you go to the red, the compensatory time, we're just taking it out. We're not doing that now. So it's just taking up space in the personnel manual. So any questions on that one?
The only comp time in the village is the police department because they're guaranteed by statute.
But that's by contract as well too.
Yes.
Yeah. Turn to page, let's see, what am I looking at here? 8.4. And your changes should be in red for you, so it's easy to spot them. If you look at the holidays, they want to add New Year's Eve. Take off half a day of National Trout Festival and replace it with half day on Good Friday.
No.
No.
Half
No,
day
just
Good
take
Friday
it
is
half
right there.
New Year's Eve, right, okay.
Correct.
Just that, what's in red is all it's there.
So add New Year's Eve, take
Yep.
away the half day
Half
for
day
Truck
truck
Friday.
festival. Yep. And then, section 16. And let's just how you wanna do that, otherwise it's kind of time consuming, but it's gotta be done. Section 69, yeah.
Is it remote work that you're looking for, Dan?
The what?
Remote work?
Yes,
48,
Yeah.
page 48.
yep, I got it. Oh, no, I don't either. Geez, I had those all done off, second. All right, page 40. No, not mine.
48.
48. Okay, as you'll see, remote work policy, and this is not a change, this is new, I believe.
It is.
It shall be permissible with the approval of the village manager for office staff to work remotely on Fridays. This is solely at the discretion of the village manager. Office staff is expected to work on village business for the entirety of this shift and shall be available through email and telephone to answer questions and assist non-remote staff. And then,
Page
back
56.
to 9.3. I should have put paper clips on
Page
those.
56.
Huh?
Page 56, I believe. So, employee-
Where you want the United
Yeah.
Steelworker of America.
Just removing the last paragraph, United Steelworkers of America, AFL-CIO, CLC, represents non-management hourly employees of the Department of Public Works and Wastewater Treatment Plant. We don't have that.
We missed one. Page 36, body art and tattoos.
Oh, how could I miss that one?
And we also missed one on 32.
Thank you. All right, back on page 36, body art and tattoos. Employees shall not have any body art or tattoos that are visible to the general public be removed. We're asking to be removed. We didn't know, so we're recommending it. No displays of nudity are permitted. Tattoos may not be racist or gang related in nature and are not permitted on the head or neck. That's new. You know, I don't like the dancing girl in the arms, and I don't think people get stopped for a ticket, probably don't like it either. Okay, the other one was page 36,
32.
32, thank you. Yeah, as well, I'm not ready to go. I should have paper clipped those today. Okay, unpaid personal leave. If an employee must be absent for work for any reason for which the village does not grant time off or leave provisions, he must utilize all accrued paid leave, even paid vacation, just paid leave prior to request an unpaid. So it's just a correction in words.
Which is consistent with what we
We'll
call it.
call it, yes. Okay, anything else there? Well, that's all there is to that, so we need it would be a recommendation, I'll make it a motion to approve the changes to the personnel manual as outlined.
I have a question. Do we want to add under body art and tattoos, page 36, since we're specifying some things, to also not have profanity?
Yes, we didn't talk about that, did we?
No, unfortunately, you gotta be very specific though, that's
Yeah,
one
and
thing that we really missed.
It's, unfortunately, it's a relative word.
Yep.
What's profanity to me may not be profanity to somebody else. How
And
do you
where does it
describe
fall under freedom of speech,
that?
freedom of expression?
And I know, that's why I said, how do you describe it? Let's vote on these, and that's something we can still work on if we want to change something at a later date.
Okay.
We can work on it. Okay. All right.
Any more discussion? We'll take a roll call on this.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham. Needham,
Yes,
thank you.
Sorry.
White,
Yes.
Wales,
Yes.
motion carries.
Is that all from personnel, Diana?
no, there's also some job descriptions that were put into your packet for your approval, and I'm not gonna sit here and read all those if we don't have to. Hopefully you read them. This is just like ones that we didn't have complete job descriptions on, or didn't have a good one at all. And the personnel committee has looked at them and they approve them. We recommend that the village council approve the public works superintendent maintenance one job description.
Motion? Second. Second. Motion and support. Open for discussion.
Just to be clear, that they existed, there's just changes that you guys make.
Yes, that's why I said that we've either updated or changed personality or personnel or whatever, yeah. And hopefully you've read those.
I've made a mess of my packet here. Scenic.
It should be stapled right to your.
Oh, in the personnel
back,
one?
yeah.
Back to the-
Right in that.
Thank you.
And actually, I believe they were included in the electronic packet, and I believe they may not have made a hard copy, so I apologize. But I'm sure that they were included on the electronic.
Oh, yeah, this one's
Thank
not.
you.
This is the version.
And the personnel employees, Aaron and the employee spent a lot of time on this, and the personnel committee did too. We spent a couple hours on working on this stuff to make sure that, you know, somebody looked at them really closely, and we did.
Is there any more discussion? We'll go for a roll call on this, please. Yeah.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Wales,
Yes.
carries.
thank you, I'm done.
Thank you. Police report, quite extensive, sir.
Yes, it is.
Well, you guys are busy.
They are, that's good.
Any
Not quite
questions,
the yellow pages, but it's quite substantial.
It is.
any questions or concerns over the police department? From any of the council members?
I think they're doing an awesome job.
I don't really have anything to add police wise.
Manager's report.
North Walnut Street, you probably noticed we're doing a project there. It's taking a while. The week and a half they took off for vacation didn't help it progress any faster, but they're assuring me they're going to be done in time to pave it before the winter. As part of that project, we have a leaking valve under Cedar Street at Dresden. On the inside lane, of course.
Jeez.
That is going to be repaired probably next week. They're gonna have to dig up the road. Luckily, the valve can be eliminated. It's not necessary, but it was never eliminated when they did the last project. So they're going to eliminate the valve and solve that problem before winter comes and it's leaking and freezing and heaving and causing huge problems.
Thank goodness homecoming's done.
Yes, so that will be done next week. It's about a 2 to 3 day project.
Which street did you say that was under?
It's under Cedar at Dresden. It's literally in the intersection.
See pizza here.
Is that our project then, or is that an MDOT?
No, it's ours, because it's our water that's leaking, unfortunately. I like your thinking though.
Because if it was MDOT's, while you're there, put up a traffic signal.
Yeah.
That's gonna cost us about $27,000.
Oh. Is that something we should have decided to do before, or is that something?
We didn't know it was a problem until we turned the valves and then it started leaking.
So it's not anything we would
It's
could have done.
nothing that was planned. No, definitely not.
And it's a redundant valve that we don't need anyways.
Correct.
Then why is it there?
Because
they didn't take it out.
it was needed before they did the update, but when they did the update, rather than tear up the road, they just kind of tied it in.
Put it on that.
So
It makes
we
sense,
would
I
have done
guess.
it then or now, it just pushed it off and it probably cost more because it waited a little.
Yeah.
The filter media progress is underway. So there's 2 storage tanks for filter media. One is completely empty right now. When they emptied that tank, they saw that the grid at the bottom, which is a grid of PVC pipe, some of those pipes are broken. So we're redoing all the grid as well. Matt's is going to start that work tomorrow. And as soon as they get that fixed, which they're anticipating Friday to Saturday, next Monday, Peerless will be back to fill in with the filter media and get that tank back up and running. So found more than we knew, but we're gonna have a better,
Is that part of the 27,000?
that's in the 35 range for both tanks.
Oh, good.
total. Crack sealing began today at the airport. I believe they have the taxiway done, and tomorrow they'll do the runway, and then they will be done. They did say that some of those cracks are so big that if we don't look at resurfacing our runway in the near future, some of those are just gonna peel right out. We have cracks there that are 2 inches wide, all of 2 inches. So we probably, that's gonna be an expensive project, but we might start looking at grant funding for that, being that it's a runway, maybe there's something out there for airports. Let's hope. The Region 10A Task Force is something I've just learned about. I've kind of briefed you a little bit on it, but MDOT has have these task force throughout the state. Ours is us, Antrim, Charlevoix, and Emmett counties. And they have a pool of MDOT money they can divvy up to work on roads. Well, last year, and before I go there, I'll say, I did find out that it's limited where we can use the money. Really, the only roads that we're gonna use it on would be Old 66 or 612, because the other two are 72 and 131. Obviously, we're not gonna use our money on those. So it is limited where we can use it, but last year we deferred being a part of this group, which took us out of the running for any funding for the next 5 years. And I didn't even know this group existed until about 2 months ago. So we are not eligible, but I am at least going to these meetings, learning how this works and getting prepared. I think we could definitely fix the culvert on Old 66 if we got into this funding. That's the place that we use
You said that we opted out.
it. We opted out through lack of
We
participation.
did not opt in.
Correct. So we didn't say we're out, we just did it by default. And when I say we, I was not part of it. We talked about the house on Cherry Street. We did not have a deed for that house. We do now, correct, Angie?
We do.
We do now actually own that, well, not the house is gone, we own the property. Along that same line, we found out we do not have an easement for the Coral Street lift station that's on the hospital property. Dean Ferrier is currently writing that for us.
We should have a comment about that a long time ago too.
I'm assuming we're talking later about, yes. So we're gonna talk later about the DDA, a couple DDA projects. Just wanna let you guys know that our DPW does do a lot of work for them as well, which I think Cash really appreciates, but I just wanna give them that recognition that
Absolutely.
they definitely are not afraid to help out. And then the last thing I have is we've been looking at, programs, Rick, for payroll. We've been looking at ways to do payroll maybe a little more efficiently or to help Angie out, maybe save her time. We're still kind of up in the air on where to even recommend with that, but we're definitely looking at options. And we're actually getting some prices. We'll see if they're even feasible, if it's something we're even interested in, or we don't know what to expect. And that also includes human resources and having that human resource access. Anything you can think of I missed on that? Faith did a great job on that, and I appreciate her help on that, so.
Anything else?
I think that covers it.
Any questions? Awesome, sounds good. As far as my report goes, I would like to report back that all of the other committees, like the DDA and the Planning Commission and the Housing Committee and everything that y'all have been working on is all coming together very well. Every meeting I go to, I hear great things and grants approved and moving forward with placemaking and housing. So thanks everybody for all your hard work. It's been quite a ride. Thank you especially to the housing development and Blake, because that is a huge.
I think we're at a point now where we're just gonna start seeing some things come to fruition.
It's nice to see that, and not just, all of that talk actually happening is kind of amazing. So much appreciation. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I did forget one thing, and I just want to make sure that everybody is aware, because the Open Meetings Act is very specific about when we go into closed session. And some of the things that came out of the last closed session have come out publicly. There's only one way for that to happen, so just remember that Open Meetings Act violations are on individuals, not on the entity. So just make sure that you guys understand that and just passing that on.
Thank you. We have no unfinished business. We can go on to our new business. We'll move on to the consider adoption of resolution 2022-018, authorizing village council members to contact attorney. Second writing. Seeking a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Support. Motion and support. Any discussion for that?
Diane, what was it? I thought the personnel committee said they didn't want that.
We didn't.
Yeah,
That's why I'm looking at this, where did it come from?
Okay.
we did say we did not.
I don't know where this came from. We didn't turn it in.
Okay,
We're totally against it, because that opens a whole bowl of worm, not a can, that's a whole bowl. I mean, we can have people call an attorney for one thing 1 minute, another one another minute. That's a lot of cost without being approval ahead of time. We felt that it should be approved by the board.
That's what it says.
Yeah, it does.
That's what we're approving. This is the rewrite that you
it's
said
written in the packet.
to rewrite.
Sorry,
Yeah, that's why it's here.
my bad.
Did we make a motion?
Not
I
yet.
made a motion.
I'll support the motion.
Thank you. Open for discussion.
Do we need this? If we vote on it every time?
I would
Is it
say
just
no, because
helpful?
anytime you vote on something, that's my direction.
I mean, like if council voted for someone to be able to contact the attorney, wouldn't it be authorized under that vote rather than this resolution?
We'd have to keep
There
coming
was
back and-
no solution to that. If somebody from the council wanted to contact an attorney, there was no route for that.
I see.
So I believe we created a route through the council now, so that a council member could request the council to approve it, as opposed to the way it's written now, where it's only approved, I believe, by the village manager or somebody to that effect, and that's the contact point. This is just one of those resolutions. Any more discussion?
I just don't know how this is gonna work out time-wise with committees that are meeting. You know, I have a committee meeting coming up, and like this last meeting, if we wanted to get an attorney, I'd had to wait for the next board meeting to get approval for the attorney to go back to the personnel committee.
Right, but that's not you at a committee meeting. That's the committee asking, and that would go right to him, and it would go to the attorney. This is of an individual person, not a committee, like I or you, not because of anything on the committee, but because of something else, wanted to talk to an attorney. That was the education purpose, or what was the other reasoning? Somebody didn't know, or it was a new question, something like that, that I didn't understand or know. There was a specific reason that we did it.
It was.
And it's not that it's gonna go every time and somebody's gonna do it, it's something specific. If one person wanted to contact an attorney, there was no route other than I would have to contact the attorney. But I'm not every council member.
I think this is going to be very limited,
Yeah, I don't think it's ever really going to happen.
if ever.
But it was just, we had to make that a possible route. We had to create a route.
Because this is not changing the current policy of how the manager contacts the attorney, right?
Not at all. Is it okay, Travis? Roll call.
Vote. Okay. Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yeah, for right now.
White,
No.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham. Yes. Wales,
Yes.
motion carries.
C, consider adoption of resolution 2022-019, hard cap compliance with Public Act 152. We already did that, didn't we?
No.
We didn't vote on it yet.
No, this is,
For the night. This is the
Yeah,
one you
this
were
is-
looking for, right? Is this the hard cap?
yes.
Motion,
Make the motion.
Support.
open for discussion.
This is just something we have to do, right, every year?
Unfortunately.
Yes.
And
Designating how we're complying with the public.
This is our most accepted. Almost. Roll call?
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
yes,
Larson,
Yes.
Wales,
Yes.
carries.
D, consider adoption of resolution 2022-020, Christmas in
So
Kalkaska
moved.
Parade.
support,
Motion and support, all those in favor?
Did we
Yes.
did not lump this into all the other stuff as administrative?
That's what I
That
thought
was the
too.
banner.
That was just for banners.
Yeah.
We should do the same thing for parades though.
May I change my motion to reflect that I would like all parade applications be administrative, so we don't have to do this over and over?
So Christmas in Kalkaska, Trout Festival,
Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Just, I'm not gonna need it in
Gotta
the,
vote on
and they need a
that.
resolution every time.
And
Yeah,
that does need a
because a
resolution.
new parade could just show up.
And
Well-
that needs a resolution, so
Oh, that's
I mean, it
Each
could be a
time.
blanket resolution, but they
Can
don't need a.
can you just
I
resubmit
believe
that
so,
every time?
yes. We would.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, if there's a new parade, just come forward.
We're always gonna say yes, it's not
Yes.
like it's,
Yeah.
so then that,
did you get a second on that?
Yes.
Angie says
should we do a
yes.
roll call on this?
Yes,
But the motion is just to approve this one?
yes, and I will draft a blanket resolution for approval at the next meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just anywhere you can cut an actual corner that gives us time to take care of
Other
real.
business,
Yeah,
Real
but I think we'd have to name the ones that are already,
Yeah.
that we want,
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
We did it with the banners, we'll do it with this.
We'll see it when it comes.
Take a roll call vote. Needham,
yes,
White,
Yeah.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
yes,
Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Wales,
Yes.
carries.
E, consider adoption of ordinance 2022-017, amendment to zoning ordinance parking requirements.
I'll make the motion.
Motion, do a second.
Support.
Support by Bishop. Discussion?
This is an addition of something that was missing, correct?
It's a reduction.
This is like-
It's a reduction in the number
No,
of,
this is bike, right?
This is the bicycle.
Yes.
This is the bicycle one.
yes. It used to be you had to have way more. It was a large, right? Yeah. It was a
I
large
believe,
employer.
yeah, the little apartment complex needed to have 52 biking spaces or something like that.
Yeah.
It would have literally almost surrounded the apartment complex with biking, parking. In 10-foot sections. It was a little ridiculous.
So what we're looking at here is we're adding both of these, right? Or is one of these what was old?
If it's not so.
Because there's nothing struck through, that's why I confused what we're replacing.
Yes, this is, what is there, D1 and 2 are what we're proposing.
Yeah, they crossed out the one, D, and put a 2 next to it. Into the second one.
Because we added number 1. So number 1 became number 2, and the new number 1 didn't exist. Does that make sense, how I said that?
So the previous number one,
He's now number 2.
right? But so the new number one is specific to the DC or RC districts and is a reduction from number 2? I guess, I apologize, I am lost.
If memory serves, if I may, I think somehow this particular, the bicycle parking did not make it into the draft of the zoning ordinance that was adopted. It was in an earlier draft, but it didn't make it into the
Well,
final.
and looking at this though, number 1 and number 2 contradict each other.
yes, they do.
So we have to take DC and RC out of number 2. Because those are specifically being addressed in number 1. And the numbers are different between the two. So if we just take DC and RC out of number 2, that's how the motion should read.
Did I make the motion?
Yes, you did.
Then I will amend the motion to remove DC and RC from the second section.
Good catch.
And I think Bobby supported.
And you understand what I said,
I
right?
did,
Okay.
yeah, I'm sure.
Now we don't know how confusing these ordinances are. And this is probably not the last time we'll find a little piece that doesn't fit with something else, because we seem to find them around every corner.
Maybe the last time today.
Yeah, the last time today, this evening, in this meeting. Is there any more discussion with that, with the changes that were made?
Bobby, is that okay with you?
Yep, fine.
So a second. We'll go ahead
Okay,
and
take a roll call
vote.
vote with the approval of ordinance 2022-17 with the correction. White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham. Dunham,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes,
Wales,
Yes.
carries.
Consider adoption of ordinance 2022-018, moratorium on housing density requirements.
can I be a weirdo?
Please.
Okay, never mind, I think I answered my own questions. Some of these are ordinances, some of these are resolutions, okay, never mind. Answered my own question, thank you.
Well done.
Well, I just saw the 2022-18 twice. The one's an ordinance, one's a resolution, so, okay.
Keeping my head with us.
I'll make the motion.
Motion and support.
Is that Damien?
It was.
Yes. Thank you.
Do we have any discussion for this? I think we all know
I would-
what we're doing here.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I was a bit concerned in the beginning of just removing the housing density completely for 2 years. But then through discussions of the housing committee, there are other parameters in our zoning that,
Protected.
yeah, that developments would still have to follow so that they are not, 17 feet.
It's not just a blanket, go ahead and do whatever. you
Yeah,
want.
17 stories
Build us
high
something.
and,
Yeah. Here comes. No discussion. Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Certainly. Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Wales,
Yes.
carries.
G, consider adoption of ordinance 2022-019, amendment to section 6.5 signs of the Kalkaska zoning ordinance.
So moved.
Motion, do we have support?
Support.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop, for the support. Open for discussion.
This was, as said before, all things that were kind of left behind in the old zoning, and this is bringing them over.
Basically, the summary is if you take the old sign ordinance we had and the new sign ordinance that we adopted, we got rid of the new one and brought the old one back in. Because there was a lot of things in it that we liked and that were, one thing, for example, is the new zoning ordinance allowed an electronic messaging center in a residential neighborhood. I think we all see an issue with that, and we denied it in the past, so.
Yeah, I did not get for that.
Is there anything in here that is, any of the proposed changes that are different from the old zoning, that would be new to us?
Angie, the only thing we did differently was the number of flags signs, correct?
Number
wind
of flag
signs?
signs and, I believe.
I think they also had some restrictions on American flags, which we basically said you can have one.
I think they just didn't include them.
Yeah. I think they kind of assumed that they were both the same thing, and we don't see it as that.
For the flags, was that an increase or a decrease or more more restrictive or less?
American flags or
No.
flag signs,
Flag signs
decrease in number,
is what we're proposing here
correct,
from the old zone.
correct. Because we have some specific that have way too many and it just looks,
Like 10 of them.
yeah, we want,
Down to one. Is it down to one
yes,
per
down
lot?
to one per,
Instead of two per lot?
but not, it's not per parcel because my specific example would be family fair. There could only be one flag. Well, there's two separate businesses, so it's one per business.
That makes sense.
That's a change right there, because, just like that, Sweet Shannon, yeah, Roderick from R&B Barbecue at Sweet Shannon, so one per business would actually be not bad.
Looks everybody also know there's multiple things, because we want multiple things in the same units. But also, it's, you know, outside, that there are multiple things inside, kind of like the arcade and Travelers used to be, and you go in there and then find all those cool things up in there. And those new stores, and also some smaller spaces, so as that happens downtown, it is nice, or at some of these houses that are going to be redone here in the near future. It's nice that they have an opportunity to let people know that there's also a little store inside, like Shannon said, all that cool stuff inside that nobody knows. They just think they get ice cream and TV inside, and then you discover it's like the coolest store ever.
Another change was we used to require a sign permit for window signs. Somehow the new zoning ordinance says we don't require a permit for window signs, but yet we calculate your square footage and limit that, but we don't have any permit to be able to know that you're putting it there. So if we just add a permit, then we can check and make sure it's proper.
Is there a reason why we did not address setbacks for flag signs?
It's already in there, isn't it? I think it can't be in the right of way. I believe it says it can't be in the right of way.
My only concern.
No, it's good, like, yeah.
was,
What
the signs that do-
Currently, I'm on 57.
That's a specific sign.
I'm open, because.
Oh, I kept skipping that page. I have-
That's where the flags are at.
But I don't see anything where it says anything about the right of ways.
Downtown area would consider those also.
As an electronic message.
Yeah.
No.
I think most of the specifications, there's a chart, you know, the charts and the graphs, and the graphs where it talks about various types of signs.
Thank you.
And various-
Um, 30 feet for a flag sign is very tall.
It just changed.
Who's that, 57 too?
Yeah, it's also on 57. It's not a change, it's something that's already in
It's
there.
30 by 5.
The poles shall be limited to a height of 30 feet.
Yeah, but 30 feet to back, gotta be.
But that's not for a flag sign, that's for a flag.
Flags.
Like American flag.
Oh, thank you, okay.
Yeah.
They should put
Well,
pictures
where
with it
the-
or something.
Yeah,
Flag pictures.
where are the,
Most flags are.
flags?
Are those on the
Which is the standard.
schedules and the heights and stuff in there?
I know I saw it earlier today.
I know, I did too, because Angie and I actually went through this and talked about it. Angie, you remember?
I'm looking at page 63, I think within the schedule for plant.
Oh, it's going the wrong way.
It says, shall not be permitted in road right of way. Is that addressed the setback? Or are you looking for more?
Well, some businesses are very, very close to the road, some are not. So,
They're supposed to be wherever the height of that flag is. That's how far they have to be off the sidewalk.
in some
Off the highway.
places that's not possible at all.
Well, then they have to have it, they gotta take it down every day.
Where it has to be secured to the building, we
Well,
went
it's
through
gotta
that.
be fixed to the building, one or the other. Just can't.
I
be
just
out.
wanted to make sure that there was something
In,
still listed, so that we don't get those people that are crawling out and putting their signs 3 inches from the sidewalk.
We got a whole bunch of them in the right of way right now.
Where?
You gotta get out more.
Or you need a measuring tape.
If you don't know where they're at, you got a problem.
I know where the signs are. I know that they're not in the right of way though.
Yeah.
A lot of them are close.
You're on the right of way.
A lot of them are just close to their building, from what I've seen. So, yeah.
Okay, any more discussion? Sam, whenever you are ready. I'll take a roll call.
Okay, roll call. Denham,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Wales.
Yes.
Motion carries.
H, consider approval of the memorandum of understanding with the DDA for Railroad Square property. Everybody sees the memorandum?
I'll make the motion.
I'll support.
Motion and support, open for discussion. Anybody want to talk about this? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think we kind of knew what we were heading for.
So what are you doing it for, you want it or what?
No, the goal from when the DDA originally purchased that property from the village was to create what the community wanted. We did several public input sessions and we built Railroad Square. Well, the whole idea was to make it a park, because if it's a park, it can't be sold by the village council. It would have to go to a vote of the residents. And I found out that Chalker and Milltown are not parks either. They have not gone through the official designation of becoming a park. And in order to do that, it has to be owned by the village, not the DDA. So we would like to sell the real property to the village for the hard costs we had in just acquiring the real estate itself and taking down the lumber yard. And then we're actually gonna be using that fund, that money, to develop the trailhead on 131, which will eventually end up being a park also.
So I would just add that that is kind of how I preempted that this is going to come through. In addition to the help with the funding down there, it also just kind of puts that buffer back in their account so that they can also pursue other things. And know that they have a little bit of a buffer there if they do have to come up, because they're pretty good. I mean, all kinds of talk has been about the DDA and how they parlay one bit of money into another bit of money, into another bit of money, into, oh, look, a whole project. And so this is gonna help with another one as well.
In the past, did the DDA purchase the property from the DDA?
I bought it from the village.
Or sorry, right, did the DDA purchase it from the village?
yes.
It came down to facilitate developing the property. At the village at the time determined that the DDA had a better shot at putting together the financial package than the village did. And so we said, okay, we'll take that project on, but we had to pay for the property to get it in our name and also pay to get
What was the dollar amount?
the property was $65,001, and then we spent, I think it was just over $90,000 getting all the site work done. And we had some other hard costs. We had some environmental work that we did, and we had some other hard costs.
So basically, that's where the 180 comes from.
Right.
So we're basically paying for the investment that the DDA made with your staffing time
Correct.
and getting
And the
the
hard,
different monies even from the different grants and stuff and investing it there.
actually, this is just paying for the hard dollar costs that we had to outlay. It doesn't pay for our time or anything like that. It's just what we invested monetarily in trying to create a park for the village.
We got money to buy that.
We'll budget for it for next year, but it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, that was my
That's,
question.
that's why it's written the way it is.
Yeah, is why are we not moving forward with it this year.
So we don't hit this year's budget, we can plan for it. Since they didn't need the money today, it works better that way.
So it won't take effect till next year.
Correct.
Yeah,
But it does say that we're gonna turn over operations, revenues, all that. The village, November 1 will take over as if they owned it, but we'll catch up with the title and the payment in March.
Did we get the golf cart?
No,
What, charge your rent?
Who at the village is going to, take over the duties that the DDA has been doing as far as, renting out the facility and
It's going to be a combination with front office. I think Angie will probably be the one ultimately overseeing it.
and we'll keep doing the sign.
Yes. Which we kind of prefer. Right, Angie?
Which we've done right.
So, and honestly, the progress to make the parks has already been started. So as soon as this deed is transferred, that it's ready to go.
in next spring.
Yes, because the attorney said it doesn't make sense to do two now and then wait and do one then. For the best cost and most effect is do them all together.
And what, I just want to add that we found the picture of when that was a park. And then the village sold it and they built a lumber yard. And now we're trying to get back to a park. And that's why we need to get it inventoried as a park along with our other parks.
Yeah, it's like in the 1800s or so.
Yeah, 1880 something, I
Yeah,
think.
it's way back there.
I can't, Scott had it, I can't find it.
I bet you Don's got a picture of it.
The reason I'm asking about that picture, if any of you have old historic pictures, when we do these sound deadening things on the walls, I would love to use local historic pictures like Kalkaska on those. So if you have those, please let me know.
And a whole bunch.
Let's talk to Dave Wolf.
Don Bellinger.
He's got a room full of them. I mean, literally a room full.
One more discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Certainly. Larson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Wales.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I consider recommendation from DDA to reappoint Kim Johnson to board expired term.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say yes.
Yes.
yes,
Anyone opposed? Carries. J, consider request from DDA to terminate payment responsibility of downtown streetlights.
so moved.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Roll call on this, please.
So how much are we talking? What is,
Oh, it's about $300 a month. Roughly. Yeah.
I think that's what you said last time.
There were 139 pictures.
Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Wales.
Yes.
Carries.
We're to designate hours of trick or treating tonight. Does there want to be a discussion about this time? Because last time people wanted to start earlier and wanted to start later and
Don't we usually have it like
isn't it just
5 to 8 or something?
Yeah, what we have
And
last
that
year.
really isn't in trunk or treat, that doesn't conflict with anything anybody else is doing, does it? They don't go later or anything? I hereby designate Halloween is on the 31st from 5 to 8 p.m.
So mote it be.
How was that? Any more public discussion tonight? Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Heidi Cato. I've met some of you, others
You're hired.
yeah. I'd like to get more involved in my community, so I will, it's been made aware that, I trying to get into a community and there's been a position open, so hopefully I can go for the zoning. So I just wanted to say hello.
Excellent.
It's great to be a part of it.
We'll look forward to seeing your application coming your way.
Thank you.
Anything else, folks? We are adjourned. Have a great night. Appreciate everybody coming.
Yes,
Trying to make this entertaining over time.
Yes.
I think Tin Man needs to go get the oil can.
That was a long set, wasn't it? You were here from Friday.
Take it tonight, tomorrow.
Thanks.
Was it long?
Carly, may I call you tomorrow about signing all the